My name is Ritvik Srinivas, and this is the final video for the Equity Research Initiative. The company I had chosen was Oil and Natural Gas Corporation Limited. The first step was a fundamental analysis where we went and had a slight insight onto the sector in which my company performs, the products and services that it sells, and so that I get a slight insight into what my company does, the size and profitability of my company. The first step to fundamental analysis was the SWOT analysis, where we analyzed the company's strengths, its weaknesses, the opportunities in the markets, and the threats that it faced in this market. We see that the strengths of my company were one of the highest, being both partially government owned and one of the largest producers of India's crude oil and natural gas. So big, in fact, and so honored that there was a commemorative coin set which was released for ONGC, and this was only one of two companies to be bestowed such an honor. The weaknesses are not for the company but for the industry as a whole, because the company is controlled by the Petroleum Ministry as well as the prices of the commodities that it sells. A company that performs in the energy sector must make discoveries so that it can increase its production in the energy sector. Mostly this regards to oil wells that the company finds as well as natural gas outlets. Most opportunities revolve around the fact that most countries cannot live without oil, and the increasing fuel and oil prices faced by our country as of now, and the hope that we can discover more oil wells, and the fact that now my company has gone as an MNC, as a multinational corporation with its ONGC Videsh. But now facing this company are threats like the government regulation and a startup, as you can call it, of the hybrid and electric cars. Basically, this startup would include any other alternative source of energy other than oil and natural gas. The next step is the Porter's 5 forces, and the first one is the threat of new entrants. Energy sector is one that requires an immense initial investment. So immense, in fact, that it is very hard for a new entrant to compete in this field unless supported by a government. The bargaining power of the suppliers. Here it is low because ONGC does not have suppliers other than itself, because it produces and refines the own product that it sells. And hence we can also notice this from the high profit margins that we get from my company. The bargaining power of the buyer. Now this is something that affects every single country, because no country can survive without the existence of oil in the market. And because importing of oil is very hard and very costly, the bargaining power of the buyer in a country remains very limited. The threat of substitutable products. As of now, there isn't any real threat from substitutable products. Solar power, hybrids, and electric power are in the very basic state of research development. But as they may grow and as there is potential for them, we would still keep the threat of substitutable products moderate. The competition from rival companies is extremely high, and with the price of oil as high as it is, any company will be willing to make many profits in this market, considering that there are very few companies in this market. The next step was the ratio analysis. The companies that were compared to ONGC were Royal Dutch and ExxonMobil. The current ratio of ONGC and the quick ratio both seem considerably higher compared to the considering companies. The debt to equity, however, ONGC only came second, lower than Royal Dutch. And on a final note was the valuation. The valuation gave that the current selling of the stock was 107. The intrinsic value of the stock was 155. This indicates that we must buy the stock.